driving, and it's the most beautiful ranches and farmland and mountains and things through Oregon. Well, I got 57 miles range on my gas. And Donna didn't know this. And so I was just very, very calm, knowing that I got to get some gas pretty soon. Well, it was 75, 80 miles to where we were going to go to a place called Prineville, which is where we had breakfast the day before on our way to Baker City. And so we're driving, and I'm just seeing the beautiful scenery. We went into John Day National Monument fossil bed, and we did a little hike there for about an hour, and it was just magnificent. Could have been a little bit better if the sun had been out a little more. The colors weren't as vibrant as when I'd seen them the year before, but yet it was still amazing. So we got back on the road, and we're driving, and at about 51 miles, Donna noticed the gas. And she said, "We're pretty low on gas, aren't we?" And I said, "Yeah, we are." She didn't like that. And I said, "We're going to find a gas pretty soon. The next time we see something, we're going to fill up." She goes, "What are you going to do if you don't find a gas station?" And I said, "Well, we should find one, but here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get it down." She actually saw it at 25 miles. And I said, "When we get to 10 miles, sweetheart, I'm going to start pulling into driveways and asking people if they have any gas. Because everybody that lives out here in the middle of nowhere, I know they've got spare gas in cans in their garage, in their barns." And so Donna kind of went silent on me. She was not happy. And so, but I was fine. I knew we were going to be okay. So she said, "Well, there's a little place, a little town that we have to get to called Mitchell, Oregon." And so we were hoping we'd see that. And the other place that I couldn't think of the name of was called Dayville, Dayville, little teeny place. So anyway, we're looking for Mitchell, but I wasn't sure if we were going to see it or not. I didn't know if it was closer to Dayville that we had passed about an hour earlier. And so sure enough, there's a sign, and we're down to 25 miles, and it says Mitchell. So I took the business route to Mitchell, and it says, "Welcome to Mitchell, population 120. Well, it was a dirt road. It didn't even seem like it was a paved road in there, and there was about only 7 or 8 little stores and things. And so we pulled up to these 2 gas pumps off the sidewalk, and there was this trailer sitting back, and the pumps had hoses that were at least 15 feet long, so you could get from the pumps to where there wasn't like a drive-in to a service station. And there was a whole bunch of rocks there. And there was this trailer, and this dog came out to kind of greet me, and Donna sitting in the car. And so I figured, well, I guess I got to go knock on that trailer and see if that's where the person that's going to get some gas is. And so I went and knocked on the trailer, and the person says, "Come on in." So I go in, and there was this person that he was a lookalike to Willie Nelson sitting there, and he was big pocket knife out, and he was doing something, whittling and working something on a rock. He made rocks to sell. And he was just as nice as he could be. He had a flat screen TV in his trailer. He had a lot of good heat, but the trailer was pretty old, probably about 25 years old. And so I said, "Hey there," I introduced myself, et cetera. His name was Donnie. And I said, "Where do you get gas?" And he goes, "I'm all out. I've been out for a couple weeks." And I said, "Well, where do you get it?" And he goes, "I don't think you will." And he said, "The hotel has the pumps, but they're closed. And so you might try there, but why don't you go ahead and stay? You can stay here." And I just loved it that he was that friendly and offered me a place to stay. So I ended up telling him that I had my wife with me and I couldn't stay. And so he said, "Well, you ought to just spend the night at the hotel, get gas in the morning." Well, I thanked him and went on out. And Donna was wondering what was going on, and I told her he didn't have gas. And she goes, "What are we going to do?" I said, "So we'll go to the hotel." Well, on the way to the hotel, there was this little restaurant, and it was like a bar and grill. And there was a little picnic table outside, and there was this man with his 2 boys. One was 15 and 18, I later learned. And so I said hi to them and asked them, do they know where I can get some gas? And he said, "Well, the hotel controls the pumps, and they're closed, but maybe they'll open the pumps for you." So I thanked him, and he had some French fries. This place had some incredible French fries. He said, "You want some fries?" And I said, "Sure, thanks." So I ate a little bit of his French fries. I mean, he had a mound of French fries, but like 2 pounds of French fries. And, well, Donna wasn't appreciating this at all, that I was eating some French fries and we hadn't figured out the gas problem yet. So I got back in the car and she said, "What are we going to do?" And I said, "We're going to go up to the hotel." So I go into the hotel and I go in and it's this beautiful, kind of like an Old West kind of thing, very beautiful, Victorian type decor. And there wasn't anybody there. The sign says, knock on the door for the manager. So I knocked on this one door and this young man came out about 18 years old and, friendly as he could be. And I introduced myself and I asked him, did I heard that you have gas pumps across the street and they're closed, but maybe you could open them. He said, "No, I would, but, they're out of order." And I said, "What you mean?" And he said, "Well, we had, some water got into the lines." And I didn't know what he meant, but he said they were out of order for a couple of days and be another couple of days before there was any gas. So I asked him, did he have any rooms? And he said he was all sold out. So I went back to the car and I told Donna that I had some good news. And then I got in the car and I said, "I'm just kidding. They don't have any gas and they're sold out." Well, I drove back up to to this restaurant and, pulled down my window talking out of the car to the gentleman that I just described with the 2 kids. His name was Brian. And when I told him what happened, he said, "Well, I got some gas at my house. It's 6 miles away. If you don't mind waiting about 10 minutes, if you'll follow me, I'll give you some gas." And I said, "I don't mind waiting, sir. That'd be absolutely wonderful." And he goes, "No, I got some gas for you." So I said, "Thanks." So I asked Donna, did she want to get some French fries? And she said, not really, but I went in to try to order some French fries and the place was packed. And it was this little place. They didn't really have a kitchen. And I found out later they'd only been open a couple months, but they had a food truck right outside where they were doing the cooking. And the manager said, I said, "Can I order some fries?" And she said, "Well, yeah, but it won't be quick." And I said, "Will it be within 10 minutes? Because I got to leave in 10 minutes. She said, "No, it won't be 10 minutes. It'll be longer than that." So I said, "Well, don't order them. Thank you anyway." So I go outside and I'm talking to Brian and his 2 sons. I think his sons, one son, I got to get his name straight. I think his name was Nicholas, but the other son's name was Gabriel. And so we waited and then we followed him and we went up, 6 miles up and we pulled off the highway. And he had a ranch that was absolutely magnificent, 500 acres, and it had a beautiful fence all around it. And it was just a beautiful place. And so when we got there, he took out a gas can and he gave me a couple gallons of gas. And he goes, "Well, where are you going?" I said, "Prineville." And he goes, "Where are you going after that?" And I said, "Well, I'm going to be staying in Redmond." He goes, "Well, let me give you a little more gas in case they don't have any gas in Prineville." So he gave me 4 gallons of gas and he wouldn't accept any money or anything. Well, I asked him, "Could I give your sons a little thank you?" He said, "Whatever they want." So I went out and the sons were out there and I learned a lot though. When they irrigate all these big ranches, they draw water from a pond with a pump. And, so I went down there and I spoke to the boys and I told those boys, I said, "Hey, there's been 2 lessons today. One is that don't be an idiot like me and don't get gas before you go on a highway where you might not be able to get any more gas. And the other lesson is, just what a beautiful person your father is for helping me out like he's doing. Just what a wonderful man, and I appreciate him so much." And so that was my running out of gas story. But Donna wasn't very happy. He gave me 4 gallons. We had plenty of gas to get all the way to Redmond. I filled up in Prineville actually when we ate dinner. But you know what though? The reason I told you this long story is that being on the road is a wonderful thing where you can meet some people that are out there, because there's some really, really good people in this world. And it's just such a blessing to get to know some of these wonderful people. So Brian, you and your boys, thank you for your kindness, and I appreciate it so much. Well, with that said, the next day Donna did start talking to me again, and she didn't like it, but we did just like I said. We went up a driveway, we got some gas, and we're good to go. Well, let me just tell you the reason that I wanted to do this show today. The problem that we have in America with so many people being incarcerated that come from a background where they were children that didn't get brought into the world, into a family that took good care of them and give them proper lessons, what I call the 85%. I know that Right Thinking Foundation is doing good work, and that there's such a need for more work to be done. And so the main purpose of this show that I hope you get out of it is I want to share some personal experiences with you that took place in the prison, but I also want to try to recruit people to be involved with the work that Right Thinking Foundation is doing, because there are some people that need a second chance, and they need help to have that second chance. Let me just tell you what a blessing my life is. I want to read 2 Timothy chapter 1, verse 9. He has saved us and called us to a holy life, not because of anything we have done, but because of his own purpose and grace. This grace was given us in Christ Jesus before the beginning of time. The reason I read that is simply this. We all need to find our purpose in life. And I've said 1,000 times, the very best way to find your purpose in life is to go to the word of the Lord. And what I want to tell you right now is that when you find your purpose, don't be shy about living it and doing what it is that the Lord has chosen you to do. They call that your calling, I believe. And so I know that I have a calling, and I'm fulfilling that calling by serving the Lord, by going into prisons throughout the country and trying to be there for people when they get out of prison to help them have a better life. And so with that said, I want to speak some more to what goes on in the prison. I got a letter right before I went to prison from Robert Miller. And Robert Miller was on the New Year's Eve show, a New Year's message, Hope Through Education. Robert is an individual that I met a year ago. His story is chronicled on that show, that he's completely changed his life. And the chaplain and I and another person named Mark Cranick that I met through Robert, actually, he's a Bible teacher in North Carolina. We're all working together to try to help Robert move forward with his life. And Robert has responded beautifully. And I want to read a letter from Robert that I got right before I left. Dear Steve, I hope this letter finds you, your family, and your listeners in the best of health and spirits. I pray often for the Lord's watchful eye over you all and for the provision of your every need. I've learned so much in these past months. My final grade in Introduction to Business is a B+, and even though I'm still awaiting the final results on my business law course, I'm confident I earned an A. But there's something else I've learned I'd like to tell you about. You see, like most people, I was afraid of failure, afraid of rejection, and afraid to even try to break the bonds of addiction that enslaved me in sin. I did a wonderful job of convincing myself that I wasn't good enough to accomplish any good works. I found comfort in settling for less and thought it was the best I could do. Nonetheless, I always felt I had more potential. I know I could do more, but lacked faith in myself. And then I reached out to you, Steve, and your foundation. I asked your help in finding someone out there who would consider granting me a scholarship so I could use this time wisely. But you went beyond that and granted me that scholarship yourself. You believed in me, and from that, I learned to believe in myself. And for that, I am eternally grateful. But that's not all I'm grateful for. It's God who strengthens me. And when doubt and fear try to worm their ways into my thoughts, I give them to Him and stand on His promises. I once was dead in my sin, but now I'm alive in Christ who dwells in me. I still have my faults and shortcomings. We all do. But I'm chipping away at them, and though I know I'll never be perfect, I can only hope to be the best I can be when the time comes to meet our Lord. And hopefully I will be able to help a lot of people before then. For now, though, I remain steadfast in my studies and in my walk with the Lord. May He bless us all as we abide in Him. In closing, I'd like to give a little food for thought. When we face the many trials and tribulations that will come in our lives, we need to stop trying to fix them ourselves and by our own power. Instead, we need to trust in the Lord and in His promises. He won't give us more than we can handle, and He will always provide a way out. Further, He says for us to come to Him all who are weary and heavy laden, and he will give us rest.